Starting now. We are live. Welcome, everyone. We are set. Hopefully, everything is working okay. Feel free to say hello. Let me know how all of you are doing. So we have a beautiful session today. We are going to be starting off with a talk, and then at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be doing the live group healing. So we have some time. We're going to talk, get to know each other, see what's been going on recently with the energy of the times, and hopefully we can make an improvement to everyone's existence, even if it's just a little bit. All right. Hey, Robin, Crystal, how's it going? Yeah, feel free to say hi. Let me know where you're coming from. We are over here in Arizona. Andy from Florida, greetings to you. I'm sure it's lovely weather over there. I actually saw you guys got some hail on the East Coast. Pretty crazy. And if you're not already, feel free to hit the like button or hit the subscribe to my channel. So we're going to get a chance to let people get in before we start the talk. Prince Edward Island, wow. Has anyone had experience with the violet flame that we are about to connect to? Ontario. Beautiful, beautiful. We have a nice sound bath planned as well. So a little bit about how it's all going to unfold is this. So we'll have our talk. I'll tell you what's going on. Talk about the violet flame. A little bit about consciousness, energy of the times. And then we are going to learn about how to receive. How to best receive this energy. I know this is new to a lot of people. But rest assured, this is the power, the beauty, and we are at the infancy of people learning how to connect remotely to other people and to be able to transfer energy. It takes one person, one single person who understands the dynamics of human connection and how human consciousness is interwoven and how there is no space between each other, or it's only one human mind. Just like, I love the analogy, just like the bumper cars. You know, you see the bumper cars, they have like the electric grid up on top. Everyone's connected to that grid, but everyone's got a singular bumper car. That's kind of like the funny little way I like to think about it, because that's the truth, is that deep in the dimensions of our brain, of our awareness, of our consciousness, there is a grid and a web of all. And when you learn how to be in our flesh and connect to these very high spiritual energies, you can transfer them to everyone. And it sounds outlandish, it sounds a little crazy, but rest assured, I could promise you, with a little bit of clarity and discipline on your part, to have a clear mind and the ability to actually open up to this working, this offering, this type of energy, because that's the important, that's the gatekeeper, everyone. Because I know there's a few new people in here about energy work, and that's that mental barrier, that little tiny hesitancy, that little tiny uncertainty of trying to be half in, half out. Let me test the waters by letting my toes into the water to see what it feels like first. It doesn't work like that. That little notion in the mind, you have to allow it open. You have to allow yourself the possibility to have a new experience. It's all it takes. That is all it takes. And a lot of this is lost in English as well. So I do my best to use the most accurate and proper English words that I can, because so much paradox occurs within the realm of high spiritual states of being. It's very difficult to describe, and a lot of it gets lost in translation, but I do my best to shed a little light on that path. So what's going on over here? So we have Crystal. How's it going? Robert, nice to see you, man. Nice to see you. Glad you could make it. Andrea. Angela, how's it going? Cindy, always a pleasure. Yeah, there's going to be lots of souls. Hopefully we have more and more people joining in, connecting with this awesome, beautiful practice, because I'm telling you, the more and more people we get into the group to create this incredible connection between all of us, it creates this huge magnetism. I talk about it all the time because I've felt it before. I've seen what it does. It affects humanity in such a positive way. It allows us to build and share spiritual catalysts, to allow other people who exist at specific frequencies to open up to the possibility of feeling a new frequency. That's what it's all about. Just like Tesla said, if you want to understand reality, if you want to understand consciousness and how things work, start thinking of what we're doing as energy, vibration, frequency, because it's a frequency that we're all going to be tuning into, just like a radio station. The human mind has the ability to become this powerful receiver of frequency, and we're all connected to the same grid, so it just takes one person to have a slightly higher frequency to transmit that, and everyone can benefit from it. There's no limits. Think about that. There's no limits to what one person can do on earth. If everyone was focused and had attention on the same exact thing. Think about that for a moment. How powerful is that? One singular person could disseminate the most beautiful, loving vibrations and energy to every single person. Now, we all do this. Many of us say our prayers, say our blessings for the world, but what if they were all engaged in consciously receiving? The world would change in an instant. In an instant. So it's a beautiful practice what we're all doing, and this is the beginning. What you're all practicing and participating in, this is just the beginning, friends. This is lost wisdom. This is lost information that is, only more recently come a little bit more into the mainstream. And when you feel that power for the first time, when you feel that spiritual connection for the first time, where it really changes the way you see reality in the world, that's what we're looking for. That catalyst that goes into the way in which you perceive, and that ego is forced to recognize that there's more to it. I'm not getting the more truthful aspect of reality. I'm getting my own rendition that I've created throughout my life from the things I've learned, my experiences I've had. But there are more experiences. There are experiences that you haven't had that can change the way you perceive the world. So I like to say, this dimension, it's not necessarily about knowing. Knowledge and wisdom are power. Let's not get it twisted. However, in the spiritual path, that knowingness isn't a prerequisite for the ultimate success or for the ultimate vibrations or states of being. You don't have to know anything. You just have to learn how to be, how to quiet that mind, how to perceive the self without judgment, to eliminate and dissolve that ego in a way in which you allow more frequencies of reality to be interpreted. So the point being that when you perceive reality, when you perceive your experiences, it's important to believe and not believe at the same time, if that makes any sense. That's the most accurate way that I can describe the way in which I perceive reality. When I talk to someone, I don't believe them, I don't not believe them simultaneously. Right in the middle, I'm just listening, I'm just observing, and that information gets stored in a way in which it might make more sense later. It might add to their story in a different time, but allows you to be perfectly in the experience without a form of bias, you know? But at the same time, we all got to practice discernment. Practicing discernment. We don't want to be gullible. We don't want to be naive. It's equally as dangerous to believe everything that you hear, to believe everything that someone says. That's equally as dangerous, because that's not how our reality works. All right, so let's see. We got a couple comments over here. Andrea, definitely thank you for joining. Jacob, lots of love and gratitude back to you. Andrea says, my life has changed dramatically since the last meditation, full of gratitude. Last few days, moving to job opportunities. Beautiful. Very, very happy about that. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that. So a lot of transformation occurs during these windows. I've been talking about this a lot, that we are in a very specific window of change, a very specific window of reflection. And that's the eclipse time. That's the Mercury retrograde time, in which retrograde, how I like to see it, it's always breakdowns in communication. But however, it's like you trudge through months, okay, and then the retrograde happens. And it's like your mind has to turn around, and it gets to see what it created within that last time frame. And you get to maybe see it from a different angle, maybe recognize new connections about why you made the decisions you made. But it gives you a new frame of reference that can be very valuable. But for a lot of us, we're still working through our karma, we're still working through our trauma. Then you get to be a little bit more in the chaos and the challenges and the need to triumph over, our own inner battles. So that's the Mercury retrograde aspect. And then you have the eclipse. And the eclipse is not necessarily a reflection of the past. The eclipse just loves to bubble up the challenges right at the surface. It loves to just bring out difficult emotions, difficult experiences, because it's almost forcing us into a state of recognition or acknowledgement. We're like, okay, what's going on right now? Why do I feel the way I do? A lot of us get anxiety. Just a lot of us get just a lot of mixed emotions during these eclipses. So we are going to have the next eclipse on May 5th. So be prepared to have some more waves to ride. All right, so we got about 40 minutes before we start getting settled. About 40 minutes before we start getting settled. And I'm going to do a couple little things. So if you haven't hit the like button, if you're just jumped on, feel free to hit the subscribe button. Say hello, say where you're coming from. We're coming from beautiful, sunny Arizona. Very good question. We have a crystal. We have a question from Crystal asking any tips on stones we should be surrounding ourselves with for this meditation. Anything that's reflective or amplifying, so a lot of clear quartz would be really good. I mean, it doesn't really matter too much if you use other stones of different frequencies, but amplifying, like the quartzes, it's more important to have a clean and clear space. I want to say it's more important to have cleared your space that you're going to receive the energy in. If you can use some sage or Palo Santo or spray, to get all that energy clear within your space and to have an organized, nice space to receive in. But otherwise, I would say amplifying quartz because that quartz is going to help you connect to the frequencies that I'm going to be transferring. And I'll show you the grid. So y'all haven't seen the grid yet, so I'm going to do that right now. So here's the grid we're working with. We're working with the violet flame this evening. The violet flame is, before I go on my long talk about the violet flame, is, simply speaking, is a frequency and energy that helps transmute and create alchemy within the self. So we have all this bubbling up energy, disharmony, if you will, and that purple flame, that purple energy, that frequency is going to help bring that back into harmony in a way that makes it very unique. So it's kind of something you have to you kind of have to experience for yourself. So we're going to take a little break. So I'll show you the grid right here. So let me get my video on screen so I can see what I'm looking at. All right, so coming down here, you can see a lot of the amethyst, sugilite pieces. We even have an auralite 27. Is that what's called? Auralite 27? I can't remember the number. So sugilite, charolite, amethyst, and maybe one or two little pieces of tanzanite. There's actually a piece of benitoite, which is kind of rare. It's like a very less known but rare, powerful third eye stone behind the big quartz. And then you have the big quartz, which this is the power right here. These are the generators. These are the big energies that help transfer all this power. And that's why I start to get more and more into the big quartz points, because those are the ones that can do some really, really incredible things, where if people only knew the power of grids and actually how to work with them and how they connect to your consciousness, they'd probably start buying pieces to build grids. So that is the grid we're working with. Oh, and some blue lace agate, selenite, and there's going to be one piece of rose quartz. Oh, and lithium quartz as well. There's a little big rock of lithium quartz down there. So, pretty nice grid that we're going to be working with. And I'm back. Okay. Alright, so that's our grid we're working with. And one day you will be able to experience these grids and these offerings in person. That is something that will be coming in the future. And this grid is charged up. See, one quick thing, it's not just about organizing a bunch of neat looking crystals in weird shapes and patterns. It's not about that. Obviously shapes are very important in this dimension, because specific shapes do generate specific power. But it's after they're in position. It's the way in which I understand connecting to the grid and how it connects to my mind and the levels of understanding that I've made it to. So that's one thing that's very important to recognize with crystals and working with grids, is that they're going to be reflective of the level that you are currently at. So whatever wisdom and understandings that you have, that's what you're limited to. So it's important not to get too dogmatic within your approach. You always want to leave a little part of you that's observing new dynamics, because any type of energy work connection that I have, I'm always learning every single time. No matter if I've grabbed a crystal 1,000 times, I never think that I know what I'm going to feel. So it's really important about wanting to work with crystals. Yes, that big quartz is nearly 100 pounds, and it is more powerful than I could possibly describe through this recording or through this live feed. So we're going to talk a little bit about the violet flame as we get closer and closer to our start time. So let me I want to drop this link real quick. South Carolina, nice. Sure you guys have some nice weather out there. And just a quick little reminder, I'm Joseph Adams, and this is the group healing offering. So I do this at least 2 times a month. I'm upping my efforts to increase these group offerings to get more and more people combined. We had a little bit of a 5 or 6 month window where we weren't able to work on any business due to moving from the storm, moving to Arizona. So I'm doing my best now to grow this group back to its former glory and beyond. So, and that's how you can find me as well, grouphealing.com. So we're going to get started with a little bit more on the violet flame, because, I got to tell people, because a lot, I have so many things that I want to say that are my forte, that are my specialty. My specialty is energy work, group healing, or private sessions, or teaching, educating. I have so many things that, sometimes it's more important to learn and understand versus receive energy, or sometimes it's more important to receive energy than learn. So we got to do a little bit of both. You have to have some form of, keeping the brain and the mind active about what we're all doing here. All right. So a lot of people might recognize the violet flame through the I Am discourses. I didn't get through them too much, but it's basically there's an ascended master named Saint Germain, and he was this incredible being who learned the alchemy. He learned how to live a very long time. He learned how to do these incredible things that the saints, that the awakened ones, the Christed consciousness ones have learned to do in this reality. And that's where I was first exposed to the violet flame. But the violet flame is this pure form of consciousness. And the reason this is important is because as we go through our journey in life, as we go through the trials and tribulations of being alive, we start to accumulate a lot of trauma. We start to accumulate a lot of disharmony. And what we all know that to be, that is shadow. We start to grow the shadows that are inside of us, the hurt pieces of us that exist. And a lot of the spiritual path is understanding and recognizing why we feel bad. What caused us to have that reaction? Why do we still carry the pain of the past? And that journey is really important, because through the journey of understanding the shadow, understanding our pain, we get to understand more and more of ourself. And eventually, when you learn to transmute the shadow and integrate the pain, it becomes your catalyst, it becomes your power. So working with the violet flame, that energy as you're doing shadow work can help transmute that pain into the alignment that it was meant to be. So a little bit about shadow work. So I always like to teach a little bit about it, because it's important to know. It's like, where do you start your spiritual journey? It's not just meditation in sitting down and trying to have a blank mind. That's really boring. That's boring. That's not really doing anything. It's not about just sitting and closing your mind and doing nothing. It's actually the opposite. And that's why this term meditation is kind of misunderstood. And I actually used that term and misused it for years. I didn't realize it. And I realized I wasn't doing meditation. I was doing what's known as inquiry, self-inquiry. I was sitting down in silence, inquiring about my pain, inquiring about the shadows, because the shadows, once you integrate them, they create more and more positive growth. So that inquiry, that silence and inquiry with focus and attention, was allowing me to understand deeper aspects of myself, to be integrated, in which go back into the greater form of the human energy body. And one of the most important things about where do you start with your shadow work? Well, where do you get the most of your power back? Where do you get the most of your energy from the traumas and tribulations? And that is the root chakra. It all starts with security. Do you feel secure being alive? That's the big question right there. Do you feel comfortable being alive? What is causing your biggest insecurities? That's the question you need to answer, because that question helps answer. Well, what makes you secure? What makes you insecure? So when you go after those insecurities, those biggest insecurities are going to be the most amount of power you're going to gain back within your realm of consciousness. And why is that important? Because all of those shadows, all of those insecurities, that's your foundation. If you don't feel secure, that's a very weak foundation. And if you don't have a proper foundation, you're not going to be able to hold the weight of the high frequency energy of the spiritual energies. So that weak connection point of not being secure won't allow you to bring down the higher understandings, the transcendence of the third eye and the crown. You'll be limited in what you'll be able to bring through. So that is why that's important to work with the root chakra and becoming more secure. So hope that makes sense there. One quick thing. Okay. So that's where it begins. That's where your journey begins. If you're trying to get into the spiritual path and you want to do the hard work, because eventually you will need to do the hard work, you will need to understand why you carry pain. So you always start root chakra. What makes you feel the most comfortable being alive? How do you address those insecurities? And then as your consciousness, you begin to recognize what makes you secure, you start making those little changes. Then you say, okay, I feel comfortable, I feel relaxed, consciousness raises up, and you start feeling happy, you start getting your first little hints of joy and desire and wanting to do things. And that emotional body, that's the second energy of our awareness that we have, is the emotional body. Working with that emotional body, trying to figure out, now we got to deal with the extremes of depression and the extremes of addiction. So it's all about balancing. So you figure out, how do I self-accept? How do I accept myself the most? How do I bring joy? And this makes me think of a really beautiful analogy that I saw from one of my old yoga teachers, where it had this little funny meme where it was, when you die, you're judged on two things. And that is, how much joy did you have? How much joy did you bring to others? And when you really think about that, the answer to that question, and that's the emotional body, that's what you need to be doing on earth, is bringing joy to other people, having joy yourself. So the path and understanding why you feel depressed, why you're apathetic, why you don't have that spark for life, that's what you need to self-reflect on. And then on the other side of the scale, you got to be careful with bouncing into overindulgence, compulsion, and then at the furthest end of the emotional body is addiction. So that's where many people suffer within this confine, and they might not ever make it out. Awareness is trapped in that bouncing back from depression, bouncing back and from compulsion. But eventually you get these little jolts of spiritual catalysts that can pull you right out of that emotional body into the higher spiritual frequencies. So, shadow work is the most important work. It's the only work. And the most work you will do is on that security, becoming secure, becoming self-acceptance, finding that natural joy. And then lastly is the mental body. And this is the most difficult one, of finding balance. Because the mental body, that's the ego. That's where the ego lives. And that's where we create the most shadows. It's our own thinking ability, our own thinking process, creating our reality, creating the way we view or judge other aspects of our life, other people. And obviously this is where psychology and the human condition can just infinitely try to be explained through psychology. And we're obviously not going to go deep into it, because we're very complex individuals. You have a very specific trauma, and that's going to equal a very specific outcome. And they can kind of, with a accurate probability, guesstimate how someone is going to think and feel based on certain circumstances. So you can read all the psychology books you want, try to get a better understanding of your mind while you do the right things. But at some point in times, to reach higher levels of spiritual connection that can help you out of those difficult mental aspects, because the mind is like a double-edged sword. It keeps you contained. It makes you think that your thoughts and the way you think, that's the world. That's reality, when that's not even close to the truth. Thinking and being stuck in your mind is a really tiny closet in a giant mansion of your potential. That's what the mind does. And it might even be more than that, more of a contrasted correlation. Because when you get out of the mind and you begin to open up the dormant spiritual energies that don't necessarily have these definitions, when you start connecting to the third eye, you start connecting to higher and higher, more powerful aspects of love and compassion, and you have a silenced mind while doing so, it opens up so much more of reality. And you begin to see what your mind, or how the mind corrupts your own reality in one way, shape, or form. So I always say, and I always quote this from the Law of One, is what's the goal of the mental body? What do you do with all the shadows you create within your mind? Well, just try to have a clear mind. Clarity is the gatekeeper to higher consciousness. And that's a big one for me, because you actually do have an ability to just bypass the chattering mind, the over-analytical mind that just doesn't stop thinking and creating certain realities, looping itself over and over. That's the destruction the mind can do. So instead, try to achieve clarity. Clarity is that gatekeeper. If you could just, for once, it's like a storm that never ends, but once you achieve clarity, clouds dissipate and there's something above. What is it above? That's the potential that is just on the other side of your chattering mind. That light blast through for the first time equals opening up the feeling body for the first time. The higher emotions of feeling, such as love, compassion, empathy. But those necessarily, but a lot of people, many people don't awaken into love at first, especially if you're coming from more of a masculine background or a more thinking dominated background. Many people awaken through the third eye, where they have a spiritual experience and they open up one out of two access points to higher consciousness. And that third eye it serves as a mirror into infinity. So think about that for a moment. When you begin to open up your third eye and you balance your awareness on that lens and you allow it to reflect perfectly into infinity, this is where you start to get a lot of people's first spiritual experiences. You feel these incredible sensations that are beyond love, they're beyond the human emotions, but they're transcended emotions, and they're very, very powerful. That's how a lot of people awaken into their spiritual path. But eventually, it is a little bit of a trap, because many people get stuck in the third eye, and they keep going beyond. They keep, going right into their third eye in those meditations, transcending beyond all human emotion, losing themselves, and they're not getting the full picture, because the third eye is not the goal. Transcending all of humanity and all of humanness and ego, that's not the goal in this reality at all. And that's where a lot of confusion exists. One of the goals is you need to ground back down into third eye, which is like transcendent state of human consciousness, the throat chakra, energy center. This is where you start to get the wisdom of the dimension, the wisdom of being alive. And that's through reverence, devotion, all of these gratitude, all of these emotions that have to do with what happens before unity. Everyone thinks, it's all about unity. It's all about being one. Well, all of the wisdom of being human is about before unity. So if you want to be a master of unity, you need to be a master of how you relate to yourself and how you relate to other people, and understanding the proper ways to relate to them energetically, which only happen through choice. You have to choose to be grateful. You will never just open up a spiritual experience and just be grateful. The dimension has it set where this is a choice. You have to make the choice to be grateful or to be in reverence. Another unspoken difficulty of the spiritual path is that's not really talked about. The fact that you're never just going to evolve and awaken and activate into this high self. It doesn't work like that. You activate and open so that you have potential to make the most out of your field. And that only happens in this dimension through the act of choice. Super important lessons right there, friends. Super important lessons. It only happens through choice, to choose to be in reverence, choose to be in devotion, choose to be in gratitude. And within that practice, then you start getting all of the wisdom about what it means to be alive and being human. And that's why when we work with the violet flame, we can help draw this energy, transfer this energy to those energy centers where we have blockages. For instance, anger. Anger resides in the throat. If you're always angry, that's going to block the throat chakra. If you have addictions, that's going to block the throat. If you gossip, if you overly complain, if you are overly optimistic, these are all blockages to truth. So, working with the violet flame can help us restore, bring alignment back to these fields. So for anyone that's new right now, we're talking about the violet flame. We're talking about what we're doing today. We're going to have a group healing session coming up here in about 20 minutes exactly. We're going to start the group healing session, and a little bit before that, we're going to talk about how to best receive this energy. I'm Joseph Adams. I've been dedicating my whole spiritual gift into bringing the most effective, powerful and potent group healing transfer of energy that you can connect to. This is a very new thing. I utilize the power of the thousands of hours of meditation and understanding myself, understanding others, and recognizing what does it mean to be alive. All of that wisdom, all of that experience, my years, almost a decade of doing energy work, private sessions, remote sessions, understanding how to connect to people, put all that into practice when I meditate, go to the highest levels, achieve incredible states of wisdom on how to connect using crystals to transfer energy to people. That's the goal, that's the gift, that's what I want to do. Because the most important thing that you can do on earth is come together under one focus, one attention. So the group healing is a beautiful way to share spiritual catalysts, to help pass on the flame of all the work that I've done, all the ascended states of consciousness, they change the way that I feel. They change the way that my energy exists. And when I connect with other people, those codes, those light codes, that resonance, if you will, I can touch someone, I can connect with someone and have that energy change them. So that's why in the East, that's why when people find an awakened master, someone who truly exists in the Christ consciousness, they just want to be around them. They just want to feel them, because their energy embodies just divine harmony. It's just divine grace. That's one of the things that happens when we connect to and experience the energies that we're going to experience. It's not inherently just coming from me. It's the energies I'm bringing in. They're beyond me as well. But those energies, I'm learning them. I'm learning to understand them more and more and more. So as I harmonize and bring more and more alignment to myself, I can contain more and more energy to help others. So it's this beautiful, beautiful puzzle in which, you can help people along the way. Yeah, so feel free to hit the like button. You feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you want to find me, and I'm going to send everyone an email about all of this as well, as you can find me at grouphealing.com, super easy. And I have a schedule of sessions that I have online about what I connect to throughout the year. Incredible sessions. We have the ending Eclipse session, which is on May 5th. And then I believe, I'm not mistaken, I don't have my schedule right in front of me, but I believe that goes right into Cosmic Consciousness, which is one of the fan favorites of the whole year. Cosmic Consciousness is where we connect to these incredible ET groups to help transfer incredible energy, Christ consciousness energy. We're going to actually connect to Mount Shasta energy, which is the root chakra of the whole earth. That energy is the first energy that comes from space into the earth, and it's incredibly grounded. If you haven't been to Mount Shasta, it's in Northern California, definitely make your pilgrimage. It changed the way I view nature and how I view Mother Earth and like the voice that she has. It allowed me to listen more clearly. And I'd love to do another trip there at some point in time. So we're going to ground. So we have all this chaos energy coming from the eclipses, coming from retrograde, lunar eclipse on the 5th, and then we will ground immediately. So that's going to be a session that you definitely want to do to get more balanced as we move through the summer. ET connections, and then the most powerful time of the whole year for spiritual evolution is the beginning of August, Lionsgate. That's like my new year. It's like my new year and my Christmas all in one, because of what growth you can do. So I do so much preparation leading up to that time frame. So that's what we have coming up for group healing sessions, and I'll definitely share that with you after today. I'll send an email out to everyone, so if you don't see it, you might want to check all your promo folders. It's getting harder and harder to send emails around here. All right, so we have about 15 minutes until we begin. So if you haven't already, get your space organized, get your pillows propped up, get your blanket out, do everything you need to do to be in the most comfortable position that you can. We started talking about the shadows, so I'm going to just finish that little convo about the shadows and how we integrate them. So as you know, like, we're trying to be secure. We're trying to bring harmony back to our foundation, our sense of being comfortable in the world. Most important aspect of shadow work is finding that security. But all of those shadows, being secure, being accepting of oneself, balancing your emotional body, finding and seeking clarity within your mind, harmonizing your relationships, finding truth. What's that all equal? Well, once you begin to integrate that literally translate every single shadow that you harmonize, that literally equals new potential to go higher and higher, new power to embody. You literally, if you harmonize a big trauma in your life, you literally just gave yourself more ability to be loving. That's what you just did. All of those shadows equal energy channels, alignment that go from top to bottom. It's not just this arbitrary pain in your mind. It actually has a shape to it. And when you begin popping out that disharmony through working with violet flame, through working with your own harmonic, learning how to accept the shadows and work with them, it creates a stronger and stronger auric field, because you will be limited to how much love you can have and hold if you carry around all the pain. So, and the beautiful thing is, even if you have the tiniest little inkling of love, you have all the love in the world. The tiniest little piece of rice of gratitude, you have all the gratitude. It just takes time and focus to bring out that energy. You have access to all these energies, but they get buried and buried and buried underneath what we carry with us on a daily basis, what we feed into our minds, what we put into our bodies. So, your higher power, your subconscious mind is after a few things when you begin working with your own shadows and integrating them. Acknowledgement, full responsibility in acknowledging the shadow for what it is. That might be a very painful part in itself. Self-acceptance, accept, acknowledge, take responsibility. Those are the big aspects of the higher power. That's what your higher aspect wants. Take responsibility for what happened. Take responsibility for how you feel, no matter why you feel the way you feel. So when you have those frames of consciousness, those ways of thinking, responsibility, acknowledgement, acceptance, your higher power says, okay, the ego is actually playing the game. The ego says, okay, the ego is actually doing what we want. And then it will begin to take away the pain through working with the violet flame, bringing in this beautiful energy into the pain of your shadow while you're self-accepting, while you're taking responsibility, while you're fully acknowledging everything for what it is. So, so that is what's important for integration. Higher set leads to higher sensory. So the integration of your shadow, that's going to lead to your higher sensory, going to lead to more of a aligned structure. It will give you more of an opportunity to hold the power of the divine, because the structure of pain simply can't hold the divine. But this is really one of the cool things. When I wrote this down earlier, I was like, wow, this is a beautiful thing that our creation exists. It's like one of the dynamics of how our consciousness, how our dimension works. And that is, you can hold all the pain in the world, but you won't be able to hold the divine because of all that pain. However, you can receive all of the divine energy in the world, even though you carry all the pain. So that's one of the most beautiful things that I love about this dimension, is these little tiny Easter eggs, these little tiny surprises where it doesn't make sense that you carry all this pain. And when you meditate, there's no way you're going to be able to hold the highest frames of consciousness when you have all that pain. You just can't. It doesn't work like that. The vibrations and structure carry order. And those lower vibrational energies, they can't hold the order of the high frequencies of the spirit. However, you do have the ability to receive the highest of the high. That's one of the coolest things. Such a beautiful thing. Alrighty. Alright, so we are getting close. We're going to talk about how to receive this energy. Yeah, we got about 9 minutes. So when you get into your space, how this is going to work is we're going to have a sound bath that's played for everyone. Now, this sound bath is recorded, and it will turn on the moment we start. So that sound bath can help you relax. It actually has a lot of beautiful energy encoded into it. So that sound bath will be playing in the background that you can listen to as you relax and as you allow yourself to open up to the energy of the group healing. Okay? So that sound bath is optional. You don't have to listen to it. You can put all of this on silent. You can listen to your own music if you want, or you can put headphones on and to go a little bit deeper. But it's optional. Just so you know, it's optional. What we're all here for is to receive energy that I'm going to transfer. So the sound bath is just a complement to the work that we're going to be doing, okay? And sound bath will be playing. So you're in your space. You can either be lying down. Lying down is a receptive form of, it's a receptive space to be in. It's a receptive position. So if you want to be more restorative, to give yourself self-healing, self-care, then you may want to be lying down for this. If you want to be more propped up, that engages you a little bit more to be observant, to watch how the energy interacts with you, maybe to have a spiritual activation. And then full sitting upright, that is an active state of reception. That's where you're making growth and strides into your energy field. So there's something different that happens when you're sitting up versus you're lying down. But not all the time. It's kind of a loose rule. So experiment. If you want to change halfway through, sit up for a little bit, lie down for the rest. But you want to have no interruptions. So turn your phones off, get them away from your space. If you can, limit the interruptions, because your higher power will not allow you to go as deep if it knows that you're going to have your phone buzzing every 5 seconds. Okay? And I will take my seat right on the dot. It's about 7 minutes from now. Sorry? I can't hear the last thing you're saying. Yeah, it's gonna be playing. All right, so I think we're getting ready. So get your seats, get in preparation if you have. So how to work with this violet flame. So for one, you can just allow yourself to experience this energy just for what it is. That's one way to do it. So you just lie down, open yourself up, allow yourself to be energetically vulnerable and open. Almost in the exact same way as if you were to go to a massage therapist and you're lying on the massage table, you're allowing someone to work on you. You allowed someone to come over and massage your back. That's the exact type of mental barriers that we need to have for this. The acknowledgement, you're allowing me to work on your energetic body. You're allowing this energy to stream to you fluidly. So that's really important. That's a really simple way of opening yourself up to this channel. Now, I put in. So I put an enormous amount of professionalism into the protection of this space. My most powerful thing that I know how to do is to open up the channel to the divine. Take it very seriously in a lighthearted way. And I'm extremely clear-minded. My mind stays, for this entire session that we're going to do, my mind is crystal clear. Like this channel, that's part of my expertise, is knowing how to conduct and protect this channel. And it's through my alignment. And my alignment is 100% in service to other people. It keeps everything protected, keeps everything contained. And it's just that's my expertise. That's what I know how to do. So when you're receiving this energy, open yourself up. Allow yourself to be worked on. Now, if you have any type of shadow or disharmony that you're working with, you may want to allow this healing session to work with that energy. To have the intention of healing this very specific issue, trauma, or challenge, and allow yourself to be open as that flows through. And then you'll get insights. You may have pain come out. It's not uncommon to have uncomfortable feelings come out of you. Just you're along for the ride. True healing does not always feel good. That's another aspect of the spiritual path that we need to recognize. This isn't just about feeling good. It will, and it can be the best feelings of your whole life. However, there are parts where it doesn't feel good, and you have to go through that mental journey, that mental challenge of understanding the self, understanding why you don't feel good. Because a lot of these wounds, they are splinters, and it hurts to pull out a splinter. Okay, so that's fully normal to go through difficult emotions and challenges as you receive this energy. And in the rare cases, it can be a complete overhaul of the emotional body. But in the end, it's what you want. It's what needs to happen. Your higher power is in control of what you experience. But it's your ego that allows it to come through in the first place. All right, so we got about 2 minutes, and we will get started. I'll start the sound bath. All right, so all right, everyone, so get in your position if you haven't already. Turn off those phones, turn off those annoyances. But if your phone is recording or playing the sound bath, you can place that somewhere close by. All right, so I am going to take my seat. And we're going to get started, friends. So this is going to be beautiful. It's going to be really powerful. Excited to connect with all of you. And it's always, for me, it's always the first 10, 15 minutes are super powerful. So right when I begin, open up. Open up. All right, 1 minute. So I'm going to put this on mute, and then we will begin. right, everybody. We are all complete. All right, I hope everyone's feeling good, feeling recharged, feeling restored. Hope you were able to get the insights that you were looking for during this session. You're welcome. Yeah, definitely thank you. Feel free to share any insights, any experiences, anything that came up for you. And before people start leaving, so yeah, this is the group healing sessions. You can find me at grouphealing.com. And I do have a offering that I'm going to share with everyone. So if you want to continue these sessions, we do them 2 times a month. And I have a special for everyone that's not already a part of my offering. So I'm going to send an email out to everyone, so look for that. Should be coming pretty soon, hopefully in the next hour or so. I'll send an email because growing this group healing session is one of my main goals, and hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you want to continue to participate, I do have a offering for you. All right, let's see what else, any comments we have here. So I'm going to put this link right here. Oops. There we go. All right, yeah, thank you for all the comments, everyone. I see a bunch of comments coming in. Let's see here. I tried. Yeah, make sure to drink water. Andy Z girl. Yeah, it's. I've noticed a lot of times in meditation that the harder you try, the more difficult it is. So, trying less hard can be a good remedy. Kaza said, "Thank you beyond words. Don't know where I went, but it was wonderful, beautiful." Yeah, there is a practice. So I will say this. I'll tell you a quick story. There was this one individual who signed up for my offering for the group healing sessions. They had no spiritual experience whatsoever, and they couldn't connect with the energy. They didn't know how. It was completely brand new to this, and I think it took them after like 3 or 4 sessions where I told them, I was like, just stick with it, follow this prescription, and I promise you, you'll have a breakthrough. And then lo and behold, they messaged me and they're like, Joseph, I did it. I break through. I felt it. I felt the energy come through. It came from within inside of me. And so I promise you, if you stick with it, this energy can have some really powerful effects on you. But there is an art to receiving. There is a skill to receiving and allowing your mind to make the connection to the group. All right, where are we going here? And Robert says, "Thank you. I reached a very simple and valuable insight The intro talk was concise and helped a lot to utilize the session more effectively. Thank you, Robert. Thank you for sharing that feedback. Definitely appreciate it. Monica says, feeling relaxed. Thank you. Intense energy, and it was very relaxing, from Mary. And you're welcome, Tammy. C, you are welcome. And if you can, get your feet outside on the bare ground. Limit anything stressful. Limit your mental body. Limit your screen time. And if you're really super out there, eat some grounding food. Sweet potatoes, things like that. I definitely, because I fast the whole day before I do these sessions, and then I have a big meal afterwards to kind of grab me down. Oh, yeah. LB says, yeah, I have tinnitus as well. Is awful. I feel your pain, LB, and I feel your pain. So just know that I know what you're going through. I've had tinnitus for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, and it's permanent. And it has its ups and downs, though. But I feel you. I'll talk about that all day. Yes. As soon as C asked if I missed the talk beforehand, is there a way to hear it? Yes, there is. As soon as I end the stream, you can go back and use this, because this is now public. So subscribe to my channel, and you'll be able to see all the videos. The link that you use to get here will be able to play the replay as well. If that does it, that's going to do it. So yeah, so this is an offering that I have for my group healing members. And if you're new to this, you can join now for just $1. $1, you can join the group for the month. And then the regular rate kicks in, and it's only $33 for 2 hours of sessions a month. So if you want to support what we're doing here, supporting the cause, helping these group healings come out, helping these community sessions and talks, it really helps me. I'm just trying to get by and allow this offering to be, allowed to pay the bills, if you will. So if you're able to, it makes a tremendous difference, your contribution. So I'm doing a special for everyone that's new. It's only $1 to sign up for the first month. And and I feel like everyone has a possibility to do that. Everyone can throw $1 in if you haven't already. So, and lastly, to all the people who have been supporting me the whole way, thank you. Couldn't do this without you. And so I'm going to send out an email, have all the details on here. So if you want to keep up with the sessions, beautiful way for self-care, beautiful way to continue your practice. Think of it as a structure and a discipline that you're going to have, throughout the year, the 2 sessions a month. So I'll reach out to everyone, and I'll let you get back to your evening. And feel free to message me if you have any questions. This is a beautiful journey, friends. A beautiful journey on earth that we're all sharing. And I'm honored and happy to be here with you doing it. So, all right. Take care. That'll do it. And look for that email. It'll be in your email here within the next couple hours. Thanks.